Hello, everyone, and welcome to Korean Tapas again. This is Jisang, and as always, I introduce my precious two colleagues, Minki and Ricard. How's your week?
Hey guys,
Hi, hi. Oh, again.
How was your weekend?
it was bad. My back is killing me. I don't know what I did last week. I don't know. I came back from training last Saturday. I just went to pet my cat, and my back almost broke. I don't know, man. It's lower back,
Oh,
super painful.
Oh,
I was all Sunday just doing nothing, and all this week I was in pain.
oh
And
my
yesterday
God.
I had class, but I almost did nothing. And today I'm quite well, but again it's 1 week of back pain. It's hell.
Oh,
is it getting better or?
It is getting better thanks to the drugs. It's but yeah, man, it's I feel like an old man now.
Well, I think it's our first time to start the episode with a sad story.
The good story is that I'm getting better, so it's all good, man. It's all good.
Okay, anyways, then. How about you, Minki? What did you do during the weekend?
okay. Finally, I fixed my last day in the old company, and I have fixed the first day of the new company. So now I'm being ready for the new company and say hello to the old people that I worked with.
Probably saying goodbye, no?
Not hello, okay, not goodbye. Sorry, say goodbye. Say goodbye and thanks and thank you for anything.
Okay, congrats on your new job, and I wish you make your good future in your new company. All right, so the topic of today is about the educational system, including the educational stages. So recently, I've been thinking about like the top potential topics that we can choose because now it's our 11th episode. So I thought it's getting honestly difficult, more difficult and difficult to pick a certain or representative topic of the society from each side. But I um, figured out that we haven't touched this fresh topic. So I think we can talk about the education with lots of um, interesting information. So let's start with the educational stages. Could you explain the educational stages in Korea, Mingi?
Okay, so for us, it's legally mandatory to graduate middle school on like for the elementary school from age of 8 in Korea, age of 6 in the world. We start and we have a 6 year course, and then we have a 3 year course middle school, and then we have a 3 year course high school. So total is like 19 year. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
12 years.
Oh my god, my mathematics sucks. Oh my god.
19
12
years
years.
are too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, okay, 12 years. And then we go to the college or university for 2 years or 3 years or until 5 years, blah, blah. Uh, but to be honest, the Korean educational system is quite like fixed. The like 90 over maybe 90 or 95% of people just pass this pass through this system, I think.
To what age are you required to study? Like when you finished like mandatory schooling, what how old are you?
Also, when we finish the general public educational stages will be like 18 or 19 in international age. So it's 20 in Korean age. And if you go to like, you can go to colleges or universities as just Minky explained. So, but like more than the half of the population goes to the university, which consists of 4 years, I guess. But still, there are like some other educational institutes that consist of 2 or 3 years, and even 5 years that can be possible in certain um, faculties in the university.
Right. So here's the first difference. We started the same age. That's fantastic, 6 year olds. But the age that you finish the mandatory schooling is 16 here. So
16.
2 year less than you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The 50% that go to university seems super high to me. I don't have numbers on Spain. It's a good statistic, but it feels super high. I don't think 50% of my friends have gone to university. I don't think so.
Well,
So
I'm not
it's
saying that
interesting.
all the universities are prestigious. You have to know that there are. I mean, it's actually from the another topic, but there are certain criticism that there are too many universities established in Korea because, like, obviously some of the universities doesn't worth like receiving the government aid, something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, definitely here as well, you would have different tiers of universities, and I'm sure. I mean, again, I don't know them because it depends on the subject. Like if you, I don't know, if you want to do engineering, there are certain universities near here that they're better or worse, right? And they have separate
Mm-hmm.
reputation, and based on that, you need like highest scores to get there because more people want to get there. I mean, if more people apply, they have to raise the scoring to get in there. But overall, I think an exception of 3 4 things elite, they are super expensive, and the rest of the universities are okay in Spain, I think, generally.
So then, how is the general educational stages in Spain? Could you explain from the beginning?
Yeah, so very quickly, so we have elementary, as you guys have, starting at 6 and lasting for 6 years. Then you have the secondary mandatory, which is 4 years, and as I said, you finish with 16,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then after that, you have to already choose your path, right? You can either do 2 years, which is called in Spain bachillerato, which is like pre-university, right? And which you get like a bunch of different topics, like of course languages and probably math. But then again, on these 2 years, you're already like branching. And if you want to focus more on, let's say, literature, or you want to focus more on tech or physics, then you're already starting to choose your own path that will benefit you when you go university, right? You can also go directly to college at 16, which is called here ciclo formativo or formación profesional, which is it's 2 years, and that would be the medium level, right? Right after 16, you can go there 2 years, and it's very like hands-on experience. Like you would learn how to, you know, for computer science, you would learn how to fix computers, right? Very few theoretical knowledge, but more practical. So you're ready to just get into the to the world. Um, yeah. After bachillerato, which is again the 2 years prior to university, you can also go to college after that, which is what I did. So I did the 2 years focusing on tech and physics and chemistry and things like that. And then, but I didn't want to go to university because I felt that like computer science is very theoretical and too much math and things like that. So I went to college to do computer science or whatever, and do more programming, more hands on, which is again 2 years, but it's like higher education. Like so, again, do we have two levels of college, like the mid level and the high level? I did the high level and then to work.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. Like I studied a little bit about the system of Spain education, but the I couldn't fully understand about the bachillerato because like high school, the concept of high school is quite common not only in Korea but also in the world. Like is like when you see the movie, for example, the Spider-Man is in the
American
high school,
movies.
or we have a like high school musical, like many of romantic comedy like genre are in high school. But what I studied was like you have high school, or like I like bachillerato is like similar or quite different. I
Right.
couldn't understand.
Yeah. So I think there's a mix, right? What the Americans might say high school, or maybe you guys say high school, it's a mix of like, again, I would consider high school, quote unquote, the the second part of the mandatory education, which is 4 years. So I
Mm-hmm.
would consider myself high school from 12 years old to 16 years old because that's a mandatory stuff. Then later you don't know. I mean, later there are other things, too, but in here maybe that's what I would say it's high school. Because yeah, it's a higher level, I guess. Still mandatory in the school. People don't say school if you go to bachillerato. It's already like perhaps
Uh,
instituto or something higher,
uh,
right? So it's not school. You don't go to school at 18, right? Or at 16, 17. You don't go to
so you don't
school.
have any school uniform or
Well, depends on the institution or school, right? So, if you go to a place where like it's how's it called? Like I don't know, Christian colleges, right?
mm,
Like
yes, yes.
where the teachers are priests or nuns, right? Those usually have uniforms, but public education does not have uniforms, right? On the public system, I never wear the uniform. I always went to non-Christian colleges or public schools, and that's yeah, no uniforms. Lucky me.
Mm.
What about you guys? Do you wear uniforms in public school?
Yeah, as far as I know, probably the culture is is a little bit different from the past, because in the past, like 100% of the schools were uniforms, but nowadays,
100%.
like 90, I'm not sure, but a little bit different from the days we went to the school, I guess. From
Like,
middle school to high school, like I guess I think above 90% of the schools have their own uniforms, I guess.
yeah, same. I mean, in the Netflix, like this now it's trending the now in school. I think like
I didn't know it.
the
Yeah.
the zombie Korean zombie drama is now
Ah.
trending, and they were wearing uniforms. So I guess like nowadays is common like as before.
Well, the problem I see with this thing is that usually, like the public schools here in Spain, usually we always have like budget problems, right? Here in Spain, um, like education and healthcare, they're always like bottom line when it comes to budget, right? And we see lots of issues when it comes to public education, like overpopulated classrooms, right? Teachers that have to take care of too many students, right?
Mm.
Those schools, like they also like cater to students or families that are very low income, right? So if you're going to make mandatory uniforms, you either give them away to these poor and income families, or you cannot force them to buy a uniform if they cannot even pay for lunch, right? Sometimes they have to ask for benefits and aids from the government. So maybe that's why we don't have this sort of regulations in the public schools here, I'm guessing.
I think it's quite interesting because when what I know is that the uniform and the meaning of uniform was like for us, we cannot divide the level of the students.
That's yeah. That's my
Yeah.
thinking as well. As in martial arts, right? We all wear the same
Mhm,
uniform
mhm.
because we're all equal, and it doesn't matter. But yeah, but they feel expensive to me.
Expensive,
Uniforms,
yeah,
yeah,
really
they are expensive. So you cannot ask low income families to pay for uniforms.
Yeah,
It's
that was a problem, the same problem we had.
But as of I know, these days I'm not like 100% sure, but it's different from the days I mean, when Minky and I went to the school, because I heard that nowadays there are certain economic aid to buy the uniforms. So like in the past there have been some controversy about the expensive
Yes,
budget for the
yes,
uniform,
yes.
but nowadays, yeah, like as I explained, there are certain provision from the government, so it's not a problem nowadays, I guess.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, my younger brother hated to wear my uniform,
Mm.
of course.
oh, so it was a hands down. Okay, that's even worse. Yeah.
I mean, he can word.
Poor brother.
Yes.
And another interesting thing, what were the subjects that you learned from school? I guess because I imagine that in most cases the basic subjects might be quite similar, but there are like a few subjects that are very symbolic from their own culture. So I was quite like curious about what the subjects are in Spain.
Sure. I mean, yeah, probably it's all the same. I don't have an updated list because again, it was 10,000 years ago when I went to high school, and, but
Okay, old man.
but but yeah, I mean, but usually it's all the same. Right? I mean, you have mandatory languages, of course, right? I mean, if you're in Catalonia, it's Catalan. You have Spanish, you have English. Then sure, there's math at some point. There's science in some form, either chemistry, physics, or global technology, things like that. You have PE, a bit physical education, of course, because we try to be in shape. Again, in Spain, also the kids are very fat. Music, sure, art, like painting, depends on the on the age range, right? For younger, and yeah, sure, history as well. Depending on, again, on where you are in the education, it will be perhaps more global world education. I think when I started like bachillerato close to the university, it was more like history of Spain, right? The civil war in Spain and things like that. But yeah, more or less that's what we have. What I wanted to say is that the closer you are to the higher levels of education, the more branching you go. Like even in the mandatory education, the last few years you can already choose the path you want to do. I mean, they have like optional subjects. Maybe somebody wants to go more direction of, again, literature, yeah, words like languages and stuff, or somebody wants to go more physics and chemistry. They can already choose a little bit of the path. So not every single student will do the same thing eventually.
So you choose your own subject from.
Not at the beginning, right? When you're
Mhm,
elementary, for sure not. But when
mhm.
you are on higher, let's say, quote unquote, high school, on the last 4 years, I think yes, you can already start to choose your own path on a fixed number of subjects, and then you can start choosing what's going to be best for you moving forward. It's difficult because at 16, do you already know what you want to do? It's very hard. I didn't know. I mean, it's super. I mean, I actually had to do the hard choice at 18 after bachillerato. I mean, I chose the technological bachillerato because it was the one that gave me more options. Right? I had, again, math and chemistry and physics and all those things that opened more doors for me for university if I wanted to go there, but I didn't know. Right? So now I'm wondering, how are kids with 14, 15, 16, are they going to choose a path if they don't even know what they want to do?
Actually, we do have some um, similar problem. I'm not sure if I can say this, tell this a problem, but we do have a similar time of that decision. I'm going to explain you this later. So, considering what you have just explained, I guess like basic subjects are quite similar, like their own language, English, math, science. In general, they are all the same. But I want to emphasize that in Korea, as their educational years go up, we get more detailed courses in the areas of social studies and science. So, for example, in social studies, in elementary school, we just learn the subject called social studies, but in high school, we learn like dozens of subjects that belong to the social studies genre or area, but we have to choose like three to four up to their choices, and from the science sector as well. So, for example, in elementary school we learn the subject called science, but in high school we have to learn like chemistry, physics, etc. Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to emphasize is that we do have a subject called moral education, and I heard that this subject doesn't exist in some other countries except for like Japan or China. This is basically about the social norms. So in elementary school, I mean, literally, we learn the morality, like to do's or not to do's, that should be learned, that the kids should learn. And as the educational year go up, we do learn some of the how to say philosophies of the past as well, including all the lessons that that were given by the how to say the very well known um, philosophers, including Aristotle, etc. Yeah.
Right. So I think nowadays they do have. I didn't have it, where at least I think it was maybe 1 hour a week or something. But now I think it's more and more common to have ethics, right, in
Yes.
mandatory schooling, right? So I think it's similar to what you're talking about,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah.
philosophy comes later on a, I think, on a higher education. Yeah, yeah, Socrates and all those Greek philosophers.
Yeah,
That's later
the name was moral education when we are in elementary school.
Yeah,
back
until the
then.
middle
Okay.
school, it's called moral education, but
Ah, yeah.
from the high school, I guess
Yes.
it belongs to
Ethics.
ethics area, I guess.
We have a new section in the podcast. It's called Q&A. We answer your questions. We have one question today from Maria. The question is, how common is it to sleep at the office? I can say that in Spain it's not common. Usually we try to do our hours, finish on time, and then go home or whatever. What about in Korea?
Yeah, I mean the lunch time is around 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, and we don't sleep that much. In my case, I walk around with the company, the kind of park where we just drink cup of coffee, and some people, but not that many people, sleep at the office. I think.
What? Okay, but you're referring to at midday. What about at night? Like finishing so late that you stay at the office to sleep? Is that a
Oh,
thing? Is that
that's kind of like 10 years ago. We had so
10 years
many
ago?
we have so many stories about that. But nowadays, the like work and life balance is more getting important. So
Excellent. So yeah, same in Spain then. Great. Thank you for answering, Minky, and thank you, Maria, for asking. If you have any questions, please go to our website, click on the QA button there, koreantapas.show/questions, pose your question, and we will do our best to answer it in the next episode.
thank you, Maria.
So I had big questions about grading because I saw very like lots of Korean dramas with all this like elite classes with gradings and yeah. Mink is laughing already. Okay, let's go. So so when I started like grading, is that something public, right? So you get an exam, and when you get the results, the results are handed to you, and it's private, right? There's no like board, there's no who got first scoring or second scoring, nothing like that. It's private. If you want to show it to somebody else, you can show it to somebody else. But the thing is, the teacher will give to you the results, like your paper and your grading, but it's private, right? When I saw these Korean dramas, it's all public. You go to the halls of the school, and you see number one, it's Minki Kim. Second one is whatever, and number 300, Ricard. So what's that? Is it real? Is that not real?
From my experience, that's not true, but I heard that in certain schools that kind of system exists, and but we also call it like very outdated system because it's like um, it's totally not respecting the privacy. But from my experience from the schools I went, we received a grade paper. I mean, um, personally, of course, but the rank was written clearly. So like I got, so
Hmm.
for example, I got like well, like I was in like 10th place among all like 100 people, etc. We do have a um, number written on our paper.
Is the ranking for your class, your grade, or
Everything,
Everything.
everyone?
Hmm.
everything,
By
everyone.
subjects. By subjects.
Wow.
So let me explain a little bit more. I'm the son of the teachers. You guys
Be
know,
careful what
like
you say. Yeah, be careful.
yeah, and I've heard this one for like quite like 20 years when I was at home. Every day I was listening about the problem, the Korean education, blah blah. Okay, so we were in the last or before the previous episodes, we were talking about the Korean work, right? I mean, we have kind of a good job. I mean, that everyone wants to go the named company, like Samsung, Hyundai, like big international company, right? Or the lawyer, or some like some we have profession, the preferable profession, and for going to that company or that get a job as that, we should go to the kind of good university. We have a quite a uh, uni, fixed ranking university. I mean, okay, again, nowadays it's changing a lot, and I hope that I can explain more about that later. But still, in the conceptually, we have a good university that we, if we go to the good university, we can go to the good job or a good company. And then we, for going to the good university, number one, we should go to the good high school, or we should get a very good score for the one exam, so-called 수능. Is SAT. It's a kind of SAT, but it can be graded. And for our kind of 12 years education is quite it's kind of step to get the good score in the SAT. Nowadays, it's kind of changing again, but still. So we for example, about the subjects, we have a kind of fixed subjects. For example, Korean, English, mathematics. Those three subjects are like mandatory to get a good grade for going to the good university. And we get every grades, like for every subject, as Jisang said, and a total score. Again, it's important. So we should go to the social study. If we go to the social studies, for example, me, I went to the social studies. I chose it because I was not good at mathematics. So when I go to the SAT, I should get my job, I like score upper, right? So I gave up, even though I liked science.
So let me give you a brief explanation about what just Minky explained. So this is quite similar to like the concern that Ricard had before. So at the age of 16 or 17, we have to choose basically between social studies course and science course, and we cannot change the course after the single decision. So what I meant by the single decision is that when we go to the university, we only have to choose the majors in the areas of liberal studies or social studies, management, etc. But if you choose science from the 16, if you choose science from the high school, you only have to go to the universities related to the science and biology, etc.
Yeah, that would be the same here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about food in school? Did you guys have to eat at school? Did you went home to eat at lunch? How does it work there?
Simply speaking, nowadays, like all the schools have catering system.
Wow. All right.
All the schools have their restaurants inside. Yeah.
For all for all how do you say it? All ages? Like if you are 18, you still eat there, or do you go home? No.
We all eat there. We all eat there, and I think it will be less than €2 per meal.
We don't go back to home until we go to home because we don't have a time. We are sure of studying.
Ah,
Uh,
right. I mean, yeah. I mean, of course, here the public schools they have like yeah, sure, lunch system. But I think at certain age, I mean, you can get a permit from your parents and say, no, I mean, I eat at home, for instance, right? Because you have 1 hour break or 1 hour and a half. I don't remember exactly one. I think it's 1 hour. If you live nearby, you can go home and then you save on the lunch costs, right? Which I think it's probably more than €2 here. Yeah.
Um, Personally, I had an experience that for a couple of months, I ordered my lunch because there has been a lunch scandal in my high school that they used some of the garbage class ingredients for the food. So me and my friends decided to order the food from the outside, but this is an exception, and as far as I know, in Korea, it's not allowed to leave the school during the school time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
Interesting.
we all eat inside the school.
Even at like again 18 years old, you cannot leave school.
I mean,
No, no, no.
18 years old in Korea. I mean, 18 years old in Spain, right?
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I say
18
until the high
international.
school years, until the high school years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's quite difficult to go outside. I mean, everyone will see us like, why do you go to outside?
Yeah. What if I don't want to go smoke a cigarette? Ooh. Do I do it in the school or do I go out? Okay, so tell me something funny. Do you ever prank your teachers at school? Or do you have the utmost respect for your teachers?
Uh,
Because for me, I think from the outside, you guys Koreans are very smart, very hardworking, very serious in school. No jokes allowed, and I want to know more. Like, is it true, or do you actually are bad boys?
I barely made joke to my teachers before, but that's like 1,000 years ago. So probably now it's different. But there were like funny culture. There was a funny culture from my hometown that uh, on April Fool's Day, which is like a 1st of April, we switched all the classroom with the students from the other class, so to make fun of our teachers. So for example, we change all the classes altogether, and when the teacher comes, am I at the wrong classroom, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Ah, that's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
There was
fine.
a
That's
cute
fine.
cute joke, yeah. But except for that, I don't have many memories like making pranks to my teachers.
Because we are good students, Jisang.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
I would say that we are quite good boy that we barely do that. But okay, when I was in middle school, it was the mixed middle school. When I call mixed, it's like male and female are in the same classroom together.
Oh, but we didn't talk about this. So is it normal to be mixed or is it segregated? How's it
Okay,
work?
nowadays it's normal for everything. Male only, female only, like mixed. I can see like all are normal, but in parents' generation, like male only or female only, there were so many schools like that. And I went to the mixed middle school, and I went to the male only high school,
Oh, that's
and it
dangerous.
was like culture like shock for me because
Yeah.
like in the middle school nobody teased it like teacher, but when I was in the high school, there were only male only, and they have own power system, right? I mean, they have,
Too much
you know,
testosterone in the same class.
yes, exactly, and they say so many bad words during the class. Like I was like quite shocked, like in front of the teacher, like
But that's not
like
that's not a prank. I mean, it's like this
No, that's bad
prank.
manners,
Prank
bad
is
yeah,
not the same as
being a bad boy.
prank. So,
yes,
But okay, so I think here we don't have there are no like unless it's a private school. I don't think public system for sure it's all mixed. There hasn't been like segregated male female for years here, so it's not normal. I mean, maybe
the
my parents' generation, but that's it.
the origin of this one is like if male and female are in the same classroom together, they won't concentrate on study.
Bad things happen. Yeah,
Bad things happen.
too
I was
much
like,
kissing, too
wow,
much
really?
kissing.
In the modern society, bad things happen. Like, yeah.
and honestly, and this comes from my personal opinion, but I think Minky will agree 100% that like probably there might be like lots of there might be lots of facts that you learned today, Ricard. That's that's a little bit hard to understand from your side. Are actually all from colonized history. So all the systems and the cultures are actually from Japan. Now it's very quite different, but the general structure of the education is quite like similar to that of Japan.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Sadly, it makes sense, but yeah, I understand.
I mentioned this because like the separation system of the genders, that's also from Japan, and like the great educational stages, etc. The subjects, I mean, those are quite like similar
Yeah,
to that.
nowadays, how would you do that in Europe? And now with all the genders, I mean, it's no longer binary, right? So how could you possibly have schools for male, female, who identifies with male, who identifies with female? It's just too complicated. And yeah,
Okay, then I think that's it for today. And but we still have lots of materials to discuss about the education and especially for the university and college. So probably we're gonna make another extra episode talking about the university life in Spain and Korea.
excellent. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram now. We have
Ah,
an Instagram account.
yeah.
How is it called, Minky? Please tell us the user on Instagram. How is it?
In the Instagram, you can Google Korean Tapas Show, or in the Instagram you can search the Korean Tapas Show. Korean Tapas Show 3 times. So we'll share experience and views from the big cities of Seoul and Barcelona. Please follow us, and I'll follow you.
Thank you,
And,
guys. See you
and
next week.
Ricard, could you also briefly explain about our upcoming interview for the first time?
Wow, yes. So coming soon, we will have an interview from a company based in Seoul. I don't want to give more lot of spoilers, but it will be our first interview with actually a company, and we will try some products and see, yeah, see how it goes. But I'm very excited.
I'm very excited too. Hope you
Yeah.
guys enjoyed the episode of the education, and
See you next time.
bye bye, everyone.
See you. See ya.